Do you actually think that it's not okay to get overhyped in the preseason? It doesn't matter what you think. I cannot wait to do more wrestling impressions all this season because I'm doing a video after all 82, baby, all 88 games, including the preseason. And this is why I'm doing it, because it's fun. I'm going to be doing more wrestling impressions. And that's the bottom line, because Drew Deeks said so. Why am I getting so overhyped for a preseason game? Well, as you guys know, it's been a pretty tough preseason for Habs fans. They haven't been happy, at least not the ones in my comment sections. So we had to enjoy this one because this is only the Habs' second victory of the preseason, and they actually played it against top-tier talent from the Toronto Maple Leafs. And guess what? What happened? The Habs showed up. And no, they did not show up the entire game. It was still a struggle for periods of it. We know that. Slavkovsky had his moments where he had a bit of a tough night, and it was suggested he should go to Laval by one commentator on Sportsnet, who shall remain nameless because people are mad at him for some reason still. Anyways, I'm glad to see him back on the panel, frankly. I'm actually really glad. I like him. I've talked to him. He's nice. Anyway, if you don't know who I'm talking about, it doesn't matter. So the Habs complete the comeback against the Toronto Maple Leafs in this preseason game. Guys, this was a fun one. We needed this. I mean, what a camp Mathias Norlinder is having after 3 injury-plagued seasons. He's only played 6 games. 6 games, if you can believe it, in the NHL. And do I think he's ready to quite crack the roster right here out of training camp? Maybe, but I don't see how you replace Mike Matheson, Arber Xhekaj, or Caden Gooley on the left side. You simply just don't do that. So I think Norlinder ultimately, by the end of camp, will go back to Laval and get more solid reps. And I mean, last season, if you look at it, 67 games played with the Laval Rocket, 2 goals, 17 assists, 19 points in those 67 games. And I think there's definitely room to bump those numbers up. But I mean, if you just look at Norlinder's game in this camp, he looks confident. He looks poised. He looks like the player that the Canadiens drafted all the way back, it seems, in 2019 in the 3rd round. If you look at where Lane Hutson was selected, he was picked 62nd overall. Norlinder was picked 64th overall in the 3rd round in 2019. So you knew he was picked at that time as potentially being a power play quarterback, and it looks like he has that potential again all of a sudden. And that's a good problem to have if you're the defense core, the future defense core of the Montreal Canadiens. He's also not small either. He's 6'1", 195 pounds, currently listed right now. And just last night, I mean, didn't overthink it. What did he do? He got the puck on the power play. He shot the puck through a screen. And can we get more of Austin Matthews on the penalty kill, please? The way his power play goal looked last night was so perfect in terms of just the lack of overthinking and too many puck touches, too many passes. He got a good clean shot. He shot it through a screen. It went in. That's how you score on the power play a lot of times in the NHL. The goalie has to be able to have as limited visibility as possible. That's how you do it. And Norlinder, beautiful. Logan Mailloux had by far his best game of the preseason against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And he mentioned even how his mom's a Leafs fan and he's got extra motivation to beat them just to kind of have a little fun with her. But you liked what you saw in the first period, rubbing out Austin Matthews along the boards. That's just that doesn't get you fired up. I don't know what's gonna. Throughout the game, though, as it went along, Mailloux got more comfortable and he had a ton of chances. He does miss the net a lot. We've seen that, but he's going to start hitting it pretty soon. And he's getting some good looks. He's a big body out there. You can't not notice him. Craig Simpson and Chris Cuthbert could not help but notice Mailloux throughout the entire game with his physicality, with the fact that he's just a big body out there. And he also took a hit that he did not like, of course. And you know what? It's still a welcome to the NHL moment for him, but he did put himself in bad position along the boards. And Jake Evans has done that a couple of times, as we know. So you don't want to put yourself in a position to take a hit from behind that's ultimately going to hurt you. But fortunately, Mailloux came out of it pretty well unscathed. The Leafs tied the game in the first period on a goal that Jake Allen would like to have back. But other than that goal, Jake Allen was pretty steady in this game. You saw the desperation saves he was making in the third period, and really just in general had a good overall game despite having 4 goals against. So, you know, you got to give credit to the Leafs power play. It's still lethal. It's still dangerous out there. John Tavares had 2 goals in this game. One was a power play goal. The other was just a friggin' long shift where the Leafs hemmed in the Canadiens the entire time, and they just couldn't get the puck out. And naturally, Tavares at one point had a wide open cage, it seemed like, on that one-timer or that catch-release shot that he had where Jake Allen tried to get a piece of it, and he couldn't, but he made a lot of good saves before that. So not on Jake Allen for that one. Max Domi, of course, former Hab Max Domi, scoring in his first game in a Maple Leaf sweater at the Scotiabank Center against the Montreal Canadiens. You saw the smirk on his face. It's a meaningless game, but it's good for Domi, and it was a nice play on a pass from Nylander that ended up back Nylander's way and just bounced back to Domi, and he bangs it in, and reminiscent of the goals that he used to score on the Canadiens. And it's going to be a fun season for Max in Toronto. He's got a lot to prove if he wants to stay around in Toronto. It's a go for it year with them, with him, Bertuzzi, and Ryan Reeves being signed. So you know the Leafs have a lot to prove still. The Leafs are also going to have John Klingberg on the point as part of their power play, which he wasn't part of this preseason. He's still day-to-day with injury, but it's another solid option on the power play with Morgan Rielly back there. And really, the broadcasters are even saying that Klingberg's main element, if not his only element offensively, is his wicked shot from the point. So other than that, defensively, not so strong. So that's where you heard it from the panel on Hockey Night in Canada that the Leafs D-core still needs some additions. It's not strong enough to go deep in the playoffs still, according to them. And I think some fans that I've heard of would agree as well. So, you know, the Leafs are going to be looking to add to their D-core before the trade deadline in order to go on a deeper playoff run this year, which you know they want to, of course. Not that we care to endorse it, but I'm just throwing it out there. Can we give some love to Jonathan Kovacevic? My goodness, 2 beautiful assists, 2 games in a row, one to Caden Gooley on the loss against the Leafs on Saturday, a beautiful pass over to his side where Caden Gooley just cut and released a perfect pass and an even greater shot. But Jonathan Kovacevic with a goal and an assist in this game, and a beautiful play where Kirby Dach beats Austin Matthews off the puck. It's a shorthanded play for the Canadiens. He wins the board battle in Austin Matthews, gets the puck up to Kovacevic. He gets it down to Sean Monahan. Monahan is staring down Samsonov and then gets it over to Kirby Dach. He's wide open. He buries it, but that is partially Jonathan Kovacevic with a nice feed there. And you got to give him some love. Like I mentioned, also scored a goal on a feed from Juraj Slafkovsky. Slav got another point in this game, although he did have a bit of a tough night, I know, still. But nonetheless, he gets it over to Kovacevic. He fires it on net. It's a bit of a wobbly puck going through. It does not have to be pretty, kids. Put the puck on net. Just in general, though, in this camp, I mean, last year, Kovacevic came in, a Hamilton native. Originally, it said Niagara Falls native on his Hockey DB page first, by the way. That's where I'm from, in case you're new. But anyway, Jonathan Kovacevic is actually having a very good camp and honestly looks super confident. He's a big guy, too, 6'3", over 200 pounds. He's playing solid hockey right now. You can't take this guy out of the opening night lineup for the Canadiens. You just can't, in my mind. He's playing too well, and that's a good thing because his cap hit is obviously very low. He got re-signed by the Canadiens last season, and I just love the steady play from him. Offense has not really been much of a part of his game, but if he can contribute, that's a bonus, and he's been doing that in spades this preseason. Hopefully it translates to the regular season. We'll see, but Jonathan Kovacevic, keep it up, brother. How about Arber Xhekaj in this game? This guy has an underrated wrist shot. Can I just say that? First of all, an underrated wrister, and he had a nice sequence in the second period where Arber had a couple of shots on net. The Habs had the Leafs hemmed in. But that snarl, I mean, Xhekaj's ready. He's ready for this season. And you're probably going to see the Ryan Reeves, Arber Xhekaj showdown. Probably going to happen on opening night in Toronto. Let's face it, it's probably coming. And I hope he does well. I really hope he does well when that happens. But Arby is looking good. He needs to stay disciplined still sometimes. We saw the bad penalty he took on Nick Robertson at the end of this game. But regardless, Arby has been looking good. He's got a year under his belt now. That experience is showing because, I mean, he's a big dude. He plays tough. He plays smart, physical. He's got offensive upside. It's fun to watch this guy, man. Shout out Hockey Junkie. I know he's your boy because he's awesome. Black Guy from Xhekaj. Go order a shirt from Hockey Junkie if you haven't already. What are you waiting for? Now we get to Leafs killer Josh Anderson. And it just so happens that October is Josh Anderson month. Did you guys know that? Let's just give Josh some love because Leaf killer Josh Anderson does it again. And the commentators mentioning again that last year you guys saw in the home opener at the Bell Center. You don't have to tell me. I was there. Josh Anderson getting the game-winning goal last year in the home opener at the Bell Center against the Leafs on a great little feed from Nick Suzuki. Very similar goal here as Josh Anderson ties the game with less than a minute to go with that beautiful snipe short side. Oh my gosh, that was fun to watch. I just didn't know what to expect in this game. It was 3-1 in this game, in case you guys didn't know. The play from Josh Anderson all starts with this beautiful pass from sick Nick Suzuki. I should call him sick Nick Suzuki, slick Nick, sick Nick, whatever you want to call him. They call him Spooky Suzuki. He's got a million nicknames already. But anyway, Nick Suzuki's up on my... Anyway, I'm not even gonna get into it. I'm not even gonna get into it. I'm not even gonna mention it. You guys know the story. Nick Suzuki with the curl pass behind the Leafs net. It bounces over to Kirby Dach. He gets it to Josh Anderson. He buries it. And we got to give Cole Caulfield some props on this goal too, because he kept the play alive throughout the time in the Leafs zone as they were trying to hem them in and get a shot on net, which they do. Josh Anderson buries it. Tie game. We go to overtime. Overtime starts with Timothy Liljegren, Mitch Marner, and Austin Matthews against Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, and Jordan Harris. Nick Suzuki wins a hugely important faceoff, as we saw, because the Leafs did not touch the puck for all of overtime, because as we saw, Jordan Harris, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield and Suzuki get possession in the O-zone. Caulfield gets it. He gets it over to Suzuki. All three of the Leafs with an F collapse on Nick Suzuki. By the way, you don't want to leave Cole Caulfield wide open, but they do. He rings it off the post. Suzuki bangs in the rebound, and the Habs complete the comeback in the preseason. Can you feel the overhype in the preseason yet? That's a wrap, guys. That was a fun one. Got a little bit of a sweat on here. It is still almost 30 degrees in October. I'm loving it. One more preseason game to go before the Canadiens start their regular season on Wednesday, October 11th, in the same building as last night in the Scotiabank Arena against the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's going to be fun. We're hopefully going to have Matheson back, Caden Gooley back in the lineup. We'll see who the final cuts are. We'll see who makes the roster, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Go Habs, go.